So in the next part of this training, we're going to be looking specifically at how to create and design an ad that's going to stand out on Facebook and get plenty of clicks from your target audience. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at images. Now, normally an advert's made up of headlines, text and images. And the reason we look at images first is because they have the biggest impact on your click-through rates. When you're browsing the web, people's eyes are automatically drawn to images rather than text. A great image can have a hugely positive effect on your ad campaign, and a poor image can be the single cause of failure. So without further ado, I'm going to talk you through some of the main do's and don'ts when it comes to choosing an image for your ad. So here's the first rule for you. Use clear images and avoid ambiguous images. Clear images like the one on the left here that showcase your products are great. They literally show your product in a good light and give you the best opportunity to emphasize quality. The image you choose should always tie in really closely with your campaign. If an image is vague or it's difficult to see or it's difficult to understand how it relates to what you're selling, then it's going to alienate users and your advert performance is going to suffer. A great image should tell a story without the need for words. Now, there's a reason why so many ads have an attractive model with a smiling face. Research has shown that smiling faces work, and smiling females in ads outperform smiling males for both a male and female audience. And people are naturally drawn to look at someone that's smiling back at them, so they grab the attention of a Facebook user really, really well. In contrast, more muted emotions on the face of a model often fails to achieve the same sort of click-through rate. However, you need to apply this rule with a bit of common sense, because sometimes a look of despair can resonate really well with your target customer. For example, if you're a company who advises people on managing debt, the image on the right might actually perform really well. So think carefully about what emotion your customer is thinking about when they're browsing your ad, and what emotion you want to tap into with the service or the product that you provide. The next rule is pretty simple. The vibrant, colourful images stand out on the page and draw attention to your advert. An even better way of making an image stand out is if you can highlight the colour of the product within the main image. Muted colours and images they look lovely on canvas and they look artistic, but on websites like Facebook, they really just get lost in the noise. But if you are fond of the sort of black and white photo, you can add colour in the form of words and graphics, which is something I like to do. Another great tip is to create a high impact ad that uses a really quirky, intriguing or unusual image. The sort of image that people do a double take out when they glance over, and anything goes here, but it should be something that really grabs attention or is funny or strange, or such as a person or an object in unusual surroundings, for example. But whatever image you choose, a quirky image is likely to get a higher click-through rate than something that just comes across as very ordinary. And I'll add one important caveat here. Make sure the image bears a really strong relation to the subject of your ad campaign, because if you just use an image that looks funny or quirky but it's not really related to your ad's not going to perform well, and it might even get rejected by the Facebook team, because one of their rules is that the image has to match up to what you're advertising. So when considering your image, you've also got to consider the website that you're going to be advertising on. So if you advertise on Facebook, you've got to remember that their colour palette is mainly blue. So if you choose a predominantly blue image, it's going to be really difficult to spot. It's just going to blend in with the rest of the site. So instead, go for something that's really going to stand out and be apart from the rest of the Facebook brand, and you're more likely to find you get better clicks. So finally, here's a few other tricks and tactics you can try to get a really high performing image in your ad design. So other type of images that perform well in ads are images with a high cuteness factor. So you can think about cute animals or babies. And it sounds obvious to the point of being cliche, but the results speak for themselves because these images just work. But you've got to make sure they're related to your campaign. And humorous images are also great. And if you can do this, fantastic. It's actually really hard to make a genuinely funny ad, but if you can do it, then go for it, because if you're making people smile, it's not only a good way to grab their attention, but it actually also helps build trust. And that's going to help you later on when you're trying to convert those visitors into customers. You also want to avoid really staged looking stock photography. People see these as fake, and they much prefer an image that's genuine, particularly when it features people. Now, a final point about images that I'd like to mention is that you don't have to buy expensive stock images off the obvious websites. You can have a search around for something more unusual, and I've listed out a load of resources later on in this training in the tools and resources lesson, and there should be plenty of recommendations for you there. And don't be afraid also to edit and modify the images to make them look more interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, you're only limited by your imagination.